Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial video using Autodesk Advance Steel. And today we're going to look at how we can add a brace connection between the tube and the column. So I've got this command called single tube brace gusset, and that's available from the tube connection palette. And if we just expand it, show the preview, you'll see that's a single tube brace that will connect the diagonal to the main member. So I've got this on my favorites panel, so I select single tube brace gusset, and let's have a look. So the selection set is going to be the main member first of all. In this case this is my column. Select it, right click to confirm selection, then select the secondary member, which in this case is the CHS, then I right click, and then that will add the connection to the model. So when we have a look at this, we've got a single tube. We can change the types. You can go with the brace and a kidney hole. We can change it to the brace angle, and then we can go with the brace angle and the kidney hole again. So basically what's happening is it's 4 connections in one, and they're all available here. So you've got the single tube brace, the single tube with the kidney hole, the brace angle, and then the brace angle with the kidney hole. So all the single tube connections are grouped into one. So when we look at this in more detail, we've got a library panel where we can save our commonly used tools, but we're going to look at all the general options. So the first of all one is the general tab, and then we've got the gusset layout. So this is the size of the gusset. So what type of shape is it? You'll see that it's currently set to 1 corner. You can see that as I change it, I can go rectangular and it will make the plate rectangular. I can go 2 corners, and I can also go parallel to the tube, or I can have a variable option. So I'm just going to set it at 1 corner for now. Then you have the orientation. So currently it's perpendicular to the main, but you can go parallel to the main, and you can also go horizontal to the secondary member or vertical to the secondary member. So I'm just going to keep mine as perpendicular, and that will allow me a nice weld onto the main member. And then we have the positioning section, so we can go above or below, and that basically is just reversing the side of the gusset. Then we can control the distance, so we can actually control it by projection or total, and then we have a corner finish, whether we want a straight corner finish, and you'll see that will adjust and allow for a weld prep in there. So I'm just going to go with none because it's at halfway up the member. Then we have the actual gusset parameter. So as we were setting the distances, this then controls the values in here, so I can go and vary the thickness of the gusset plate, and then we have the width of the upper section, and as we change it you'll see that it varies the position. Then we have the height, and as we see you vary and change the height. So I'm just going to go with 100 mil plate. And the lower width, if I set that to 100, you'll see that it now does 100 by 100 plate, and the upper width is 75. So if I start to adjust, you'll see that it's starting to adjust the position. So I'm going to keep that 100 by 100, and you also have a value where you can project it at the beam, and that will move it different distances up and down. So that is the gusset done. Then I've got the brace section. So this is currently it's set that it's a brace T section, and it's currently made out of plates. So that is this cover piece and then the actual brace itself. I can change that so I can set it up to a T section, and then that would activate here, but I'm going to keep it as currently made of the brace. And then we've got offsets where we can actually move the position, and then we've got the tab plate and the cover plate. So again, they can vary in thickness, and we've also got the cover where we can set that to whatever we want. So I'm going to keep it at 10. The cover can then be rectangular or it can be round, so I can make it round, and I can set the height. So this is the distance there, so you can see the height of the plate. So it's, if I leave it at 100, I'm going to keep it as a rectangular plate like that, 100, and then the distance is the distance up from the end of the gusset. So setting that, so if I set that to 50, I can get a plate. So if I just select it and orbit around that edge. So that's currently the size that I'm working on. I might just reduce that down a little bit because I don't really need it that size. Then we have the bolt layout. So we can change that the bolts are square to the main of the secondary, so I'm going to keep it on secondary, it's a nicer connection. And then the cutback, so if we set this distance, you'll see that it moves the position of the cutback. Number of bolts, we can set that, let's say, to 2, and you'll see that as you start to adjust, it starts to change and vary, and then you can control the actual position of the holes and then the actual edge distances as well. So I'm going to keep that, let's say, at a 40mm edge distance. That's starting to look pretty good, and then we can have the number of bolts along. So if you want to go with a bigger plate, but again I'm going to keep this pretty standard. And then we can control the bolts and the welds. So I'm going to say, let's say that's a 16 bolt, XOX is pretty good. And then we can control whether we invert them, and obviously the site location, whether it's site and shop. So I'm going to keep it on site, and then we can specify the type and size of the welds on the cover tabs and the gusset. And then we've got the end plate corners where we can actually fillet them if we wish. We can cut or convex. So again, I'm just going to keep mine none, so it's just all going to be square. And then we can start to look at some of the special features. So we can create an end plate. So if we say that it's a plate welded, you will see that it will create a plate there. But if we wanted to go in and let's say it was bolted, we can then start to control the end plate bolts, and you can start to get and do lots of exotic things. So we could say 2 there. We can start to vary the distances, but again I'm not going to go with any end plates, so I'm just going to keep that off. We can slot the bolt as well if we're going with an end plate. We've also got the ability to put in stiffeners, so we can put in a little stiffener there if we change it to both sides, and then you vary the values. In this instance I'm going to go that there's none on the there, and we can add in then if we want beam stiffeners, so you can put a fold stiffener in that position, fold stiffener above, and then you can change the justification, but I'm going to go with pretty standard to there. So it's pretty standard connection. Once I've got one in place, I'm going to go to my tools section, use the joint copy, select my connection, and I'm just going to copy that connection to there, to there, and then him. And the beauty of adding these connections is that should your bracing, let's say, position change, so if we select the joint that is the bracing and reverse that, you'll see that the connections start to go with it as well. And then to apply it onto the roof, it's the same process where we can just copy the connection that works on the column and then apply it to the rafter there. That looks pretty good to me, and then I will do the same here and then just brace the rest of the model. And then I've just got the bracing here to do, so it's column to here, and then just quickly copy that connection there. And as we look through the model, that should be all the bracing connected using the single tube brace gusset command. So join me again soon for another tutorial using Autodesk Advance Steel.